Hello, my name is Pamela Lashley, and today I would like to discuss with you the term hypertension and what it means. Hypertension is also known as high blood pressure. At the end of this discussion, you will be able to know the definition of hypertension, you will know the signs and symptoms and causes of hypertension, you will be able to identify what a normal blood pressure is, what the normal range is, and you will also know how to take your own blood pressure or someone else's. We'll start with the definition. According to the U.S. National Library of Medicine, hypertension is defined as the force of blood being pushed against the artery walls of the heart as it pumps the blood throughout your body. Now we'll start with what a normal blood pressure is. A normal blood pressure is considered a blood pressure within the range of 120 over 180 or below. 120 over 180 or below. If you consistently have this blood pressure, I would recommend that you continue to do what you're doing. If you're not exercising, you may want to add exercising to your daily regimen, but that is a good blood pressure. Next, we're going to discuss, first I need to tell you what the blood pressure represents. The blood pressure represents, the top number is called the systolic blood pressure. The systolic blood pressure represents when your heart is resting or when your heart is filling with blood and it's at rest. The diastolic, which is the bottom number, represents when your heart is pushing the blood out. That's when your heart, we consider the heart being at work as it's forcing the blood out of your heart into your body. It needs a certain force to be able to do that. So now that we know that, I'll start using the terms systolic and diastolic, and hopefully you'll keep up and know what I mean. The next stage of hypertension is called prehypertension. Prehypertension is when you have a blood pressure of 121 over 81 to 139 over 89. That's considered prehypertension. If you consistently have a blood pressure within this range, I would still continue to recommend that you do what you're doing, but also I recommend that you start monitoring your blood pressure, taking it at least once a week. If after 6 months your blood pressure has not improved, then I would recommend that you see a physician so that you can get with him, let him know what's going on with your blood pressure, and also you may need to be started on a medication. You may just have to do a diet, change your diet and decrease your salt intake. But you definitely, if it's not changed within 6 weeks or 6 months, then you want to see a doctor. The next stage of hypertension we're going to talk about is stage 1 hypertension. Stage 1 hypertension is considered hypertension between the ranges of 140 over 90 to 159 over 99. If you consistently have this blood pressure, then I would definitely recommend that you see a doctor immediately. That is not a normal blood pressure. That is a hypertensive or high blood pressure. I will also recommend that you change your diet and decrease your sodium intake. And if you're not already exercising, adopt a healthy exercise regimen for yourself. Next stage that we're going to talk about is stage 2 hypertension. Stage 2 hypertension is considered a blood pressure of 160 over 100 or above. This is nothing to play with, ladies and gentlemen. If you consistently have a blood pressure of 160 or above, over 100 or above, you need to see your doctor today. I would recommend that you go see your doctor. I will also recommend that you adopt a healthy lifestyle as far as exercise is concerned, and please change your diet and decrease your sodium intake as soon as possible. As you know, As some of you may know, hypertension is considered a silent killer, and that is according to the Mayo Clinic. It is considered a silent killer because people can go years without any signs or symptoms, or their blood pressure can be uncontrolled and they not even know it for years because they're not a person that normally goes to the doctor and has that check. And sometimes you don't have symptoms. You do not. So please monitor this. Some of the signs and symptoms that you may want to look for hypertension are headache, dizziness, blurred vision or shortness of breath, and nausea. Those are just some of the signs and symptoms, the main signs and symptoms that you may want to look for. The next thing that we're going to talk about is some of the causes of high blood pressure. These are just some of the causes. Genetics. If your mother or father or you have hypertension in your family, there's a high possibility that you may have hypertension or high blood pressure. High or increased sodium intake. If you're obese, that can cause high blood pressure. People with advancing age, if you're getting up there in age, your 60s, your 70s, then you can start having high blood pressure even if you've never had it before. People of African American descent or background, the statistics are really high for them having high blood pressure, for us having high blood pressure. Kidney failure. A lot of people don't know, but your kidneys has to do with the monitoring of your blood pressure, so that can cause your blood pressure to be out of whack. Smoking and stress can also cause high blood pressure. At this time, I'm going to show you how to take a manual blood pressure. I'm going to show you my instruments first. This is called a sphygmomanometer. It is the cuff that we use to take blood pressures. And around my neck, I have a stethoscope. These are the two tools that you need to take a manual blood pressure. What you're going to listen for is the first sound that you hear. First, you're going to always, there's a marking on the cuff that says artery. You're going to always put that over the artery going down the middle of your arm, which is called the brachial artery. You're going to put the cuff on snug, but not too tight, because once you pump it up, it's going to get tighter. Next, you're going to look at this meter here, and you're going to put the stethoscope over top of your brachial artery. The person can relax their arm. You're going to pump up the meter until you don't hear any sound at all. Then you're going to slowly deflate. The first sound that you hear, you're going to deflate slowly, but the first sound that you hear is considered the systolic blood pressure, which is that top number where your heart is filling with blood. The second sound that you hear, once you continue to deflate, is the diastolic, which is the most important. That is when the blood is being forced out of your heart. Your heart is pushing that blood out. So that would be considered the second number that you hear. Thank you, Holly. Now that we've gone over everything, I'd like to, now that I've informed you of the causes, the signs and symptoms, and factors leading to hypertension, and now that you know the definition, I'd like to encourage you to become better educated as far as hypertension is concerned, and understand how important it is to monitor these things. It's very important that we as individuals learn to take care of ourselves and monitor things at home that we can, so we don't have to run to the doctor all the time. At this time, I want to thank you and encourage you to take care of yourself. Thank you.